Okay, I'm going to talk about 210 years of local government history in 20 slides in 5 minutes, so I'm going to get right started. It starts in 1793 when the Upper Canada Legislature set up district councils, which were the first basic units of local government. These were large areas with undemocratically appointed administrators who exercised the power of the Crown over those areas. That system existed until this guy came along, Robert Baldwin. He was the third and sixth Premier of Canada West. He brought true democracy to local governments in Ontario. He did so through a document called the Baldwin Act. What the Baldwin Act did was set up democratically elected representatives to run local governments. It also delegated authority to those municipal councils so that they could raise their own taxes and enact bylaws. It's also responsible for the hierarchy of government types that we have in Ontario with cities, towns, villages, and township councils. And that system prevailed for about 150 years until the mid-1990s when it was adjusted. When we have elected governments, we have campaigns. And originally they were one-year terms. They had elections in the first week of January, and they had campaigns that were about 10 days long. And to elect these people, everybody got together in a public meeting and decided who was going to run. The system evolved, and after World War II, nomination days changed, and in the 1960s, a major change was made where they dropped the public nomination meeting for filing nomination papers, which most people are familiar with. The terms also changed. They moved from 1 year to 2 year to 3 years to 4 years into the system that we now have today, where we have elections in October, we have nominations close in September, and we can start campaigning January 1st for municipal government. So, to recap, we've moved from appointed administrators to elected officials with secret ballots. We've gone from 1-year terms to 4-year terms, and we've gone from absolutely no campaigns to very long campaign periods. What does all this mean? Well, essentially it means that the public has more time to gather information about candidates, but does not get to vote as often. So formal political participation happens less often, despite the fact that citizen capacity has grown quite dramatically. Citizens have the capacity, access to information, and willingness to take on a greater decision-making role in our local governments. Information technology has given us this increased citizens' capacity. It has leveled the playing field between citizens and elected representatives. Citizens used to be dependent upon very archaic means of getting their information. They would either have to attend a public speech or get second, third, or fourth-hand information from their friends, newspapers. Now we can get real-time information on not only candidates, but municipal issues almost instantaneously, relatively free of charge, or relatively cheaply done. So we've increased capacity. But what hasn't changed is that our core system of representative government, the one that instills our power upon elected representatives, remains largely unchanged. Citizens still do not have meaningful legislative decision-making powers between elections. So although we have municipal governments that look different, the underlying representative government structures of those are relatively unchanged. And I believe that we need to start to take steps to modify the balance of representative government. I believe we need to give more power to citizens. We need to make a more authentic system of public engagement that fosters participation, not discourages it. How many times have you been to a public meeting that looks much like we are up here? Citizens sitting down, elected officials up on a stage with their senior staff, and the only way that you can participate, or the expected way for you to participate, is to do what most of us find completely uncomfortable. 90% of the population, grab a microphone and do some public speaking. To me, that's not the best way to try to engage the public. And we need to start thinking about representative democracy just a little bit differently. So what I think we need to do is we need to recognize that citizens have never before had the capacity to acquire knowledge so easily, and we need to leverage that citizen talent and knowledge by rebalancing representative government. We need to think about a new type of representative government, or an evolution of it, one that respects the fact that citizens are fully capable of increased decision-making power. And we should hand some of that power back to the citizens sooner rather than later. It'll make all of our local government stronger. Thank you.